Jesse, the rogue king of lions. The setting is Kenya, in the heart of the savanna, teeming with all kinds of hungry predators and desperate prey doing the impossible to survive. It's also a thriving hub for wildlife tourism, attracting people from around the world in search of emotional and thrilling stories. Among those stories, the death of one remarkable lion recently captured global attention. A lion known as Jesse, nicknamed Bad Boy or the Rogue, due to his unmatched bravery, savage attacks, and fearless dominance over any creature that dared approach his territory, or even crossed paths with him during his nomadic journeys. Indeed, this majestic beast died on July 24, 2023, during a fierce battle with a coalition of 3 rival male lions in the famous Maasai Mara reserve. Jesse's tragic end sheds light on the harsh and perilous life male lions lead, a life that almost always ends either tragically or through natural decline, as old lions struggle to survive and withstand hunger. Jesse's extraordinary life story, born in early 2011 in the Chile Pride, was pieced together from years of observation, much like many other male lions. It began, as always, within a pride composed of lionesses, cubs, and dominant males ruling over a section of the reserve. Only after growing up would these cubs become symbols of bravery, strength, and royal authority. But from birth, their lives are full of danger. Statistics show that 1 out of every 2 male lion cubs does not survive the first year. Threats come in many forms: snake bites, starving hyenas, and the greatest danger of all, being killed by rival male lions. Jesse lived alongside his older brother, Frank, enduring a life full of conflict and competition with other lions. In the end, he met his fate beneath the claws and between the jaws of 3 younger, stronger rivals. It's a stark reminder that even killers eventually become victims, especially when facing younger, more powerful lions or large coalitions capable of toppling even the mightiest and bravest of kings. The life of a nomadic, rogue male lion, as embodied by Jesse, is an epic tale of constant trials. His journey through the African savanna stands as a testament to the adaptability and fierce survival instincts of these magnificent creatures. Jesse was full of energy and curiosity to explore the vast wilderness. Under the prideful gaze of his bloodline, he roamed constantly with his brother Frank until 2014, when the two invaded the offbeat pride. They succeeded in taking over after the reigning lion fled, having seen firsthand the strength and courage of these 2 beasts. For a long time in the new pride, Jesse and Frank ruled as kings and fathered several cubs. 2 of them were particularly famous for resembling them and were named Jesse II and Frank II. However, neither of them survived. Frank II disappeared just like his father once did, and Jesse II was later killed by local residents after attacking their livestock. The beginning of the end came in 2016, when the brothers headed toward the Nkoyonai Pride, ruled by 2 strong lions, Romeo and Mohican. A brutal battle broke out, and Jesse and Frank nearly ousted the rivals until 2 other lions, Lipstick and the powerful Blackie, were drawn by the noise and joined the fray. Jesse and Frank were forced to flee, and Frank disappeared afterward, his fate unknown, but he was likely killed. Jesse continued his nomadic existence across the vast Maasai Mara with his massive body and terrifying strength, killing any beast he encountered. Despite his age, he still looked youthful and powerful until his final days, and could hunt even the largest animals on his own. Jesse's movements were unpredictable. Sometimes he shared meals with other lions peacefully, and at other times, he would kill any lion that challenged him. His violent and wild nature earned him a special place in the hearts of adventure seekers. It's said that Jesse once attempted to form a coalition with another lion named Fang and his young son during one of his roaming phases, but later chose the solo rogue life, which he seemed to enjoy more. In his later battles, especially after returning to his old pride, Offbeat in early 2023, Jesse clashed repeatedly with the 5 Black Rock Lions, injuring them and instilling fear in their ranks. One particularly famous fight was with Oloemina, the youngest Black Rock male. Jesse left him with a deep scar on his eyelid. Some photographers even believed he had lost the eye due to the terrifying damage captured in photos, but it was later confirmed to be intact. This showcased the overwhelming power Jesse still possessed. Even after suffering serious injuries in a later clash with Black Rock's leading male, Jesse hunted ferociously and managed to kill a large buffalo. This prompted the 5 brothers to regroup and conduct patrols, fearing another attack. But as nature always reminds us, no rain lasts forever. 3 of the Black Rock Lions finally managed to weaken Jesse after a fierce and brutal fight, in which the Rogue King resisted violently until he finally fell, dead and soaked in his own blood. Jesse departed, leaving behind a legacy that will remain etched forever in the history of the Maasai Mara. The legendary Rogue Lion showed us the true essence of a king's life in Africa, one of struggle, defiance, and resilience.
In the vast wilderness where the sounds of all kinds of magnificent wild creatures echo, it is almost impossible to find an animal more majestic and awe-inspiring than the lion, a predator whose title, King of the Jungle, is no coincidence. His way of life, ability to dominate and rule over large territories are among the most fearsome and beautiful traits of this powerful animal. Among the fiercest lions who proved their leadership and wisdom and showed their ferocity in the face of enemies, comes the terrifying lion Morani, the last remaining member of the 4 Musketeers, once led for many years by his brother Scarface. Morani, who reached the age of 15, was given the title the New Scarface when camera lenses captured images of him in a state resembling his brother's final days. He had written a historic story of resilience, a lion who lived alone for many years after losing his powerful coalition. That coalition had carved out tales of glory and dominance across the reserve, gaining global fame and attracting countless wildlife enthusiasts hoping to witness this fearsome alliance. The exceptional presence of this coalition earned his brother Scarface the honor of a proper burial so his body wouldn't be scavenged or consumed by other predators, a tribute to his remarkable legacy. Together with Morani and their other brothers, they fought many fierce battles and developed aggressive hunting tactics, leaving behind many sons and grandsons who would later write their own legacies. The genes of greatness and ferocity would certainly be passed down through future generations. Thus, the lion continued with his known strength and dominance within his pride to hunt buffalo even after the death of his last brother. He roamed most areas of the Maasai Mara Reserve, mated with lionesses, and maintained control over the existing herds. In 2021, a group of photographers documented him crossing a river, something no other lion dared to do out of fear of the lurking dangers in the water. But the brave Morani feared no beast. He was then 13 years old, and many rumors had spread that he had died, as he appeared and disappeared several times with no confirmed proof. His many wounds revealed that Morani had faced numerous dangers and fought many battles with other lions. He showed visible signs of aging but continued his great struggle for survival. At the age of 14, by pure coincidence, he met his son, Rekero Breakaway Boy, in the marshes of the reserve. The son became a companion in survival and a partner in hunting. Morani taught him how to hunt buffalo with his long-earned experience, forming a powerful alliance, but the son's arrogance led him to abandon his father and disappear for 3 weeks, only to be found later covered in wounds. He returned searching for his father once again. After a long journey across the Maasai Mara, the father decided to return to his former homeland in the lands of the Marsh Pride. But when he arrived, he found two large young lions, Halftail and Logol, who attacked the father and son, forcing them to flee. They then returned to a life of wandering through the area until they reached the territory of the Osidai Pride, where they stayed for a while. It was said that Morani had been struck by the spears of hunters, likely because of his son, who was rumored to have attacked humans, though most likely the two had been mistaken for one another. As Morani grew older, he decided to return to the Paradise Coalition and was spotted with his son near the Musiara swamp. At that point, a fierce battle broke out between father and son over dominance and mating rights. The young son won after both lions suffered serious injuries. The most recent camera footage captured breathtaking images of Morani, taken by professional wildlife photographer Leighton Lum during a photography workshop in Kenya, East Africa. The images show the oldest known lion in a national reserve in Kenya in dramatic moments, reminiscent of his late brother Scarface. Some described him as the new Scarface. The photographer commented, "Just by looking at his face, you can see this lion has been through a lot and is in his final days." He added, "The new Scarface went from being a youthful, king-worthy leader to an old retired lion still fighting to survive in the Mara." It seems the life of Morani is reaching its end. He was once part of a coalition of 4 powerful lions whose fame echoed throughout the Maasai Mara, but due to aging and weakness, he now lives alone after being cast out by younger and stronger males. The images later gained significant attention and spread widely across social media. The photographer posted the shots online, commenting, "We spotted him in the morning, then returned at the end of the day, only to find him no more than 15 feet from where we'd left him." He added, "Even when he gets up or sits down, he moves very slowly." Many followers commented on the photos, amazed by the heroic story of this lion. One said, "Generally, adult male lions are naturally lazy and can sleep up to 20 hours a day." Another said, "Perhaps his final moments will mirror those of Scarface."
On the banks of Africa's vast savanna, powerful lions transcend time and space. They are the kings of the wild, fearless warriors, and symbols of strength and beauty. Here, where the plains are saturated with the spirit of adventure, the terrifying roar of lions echoes across the land as they roam proudly with their massive bodies, their shimmering manes glowing under the blazing sun, constantly seeking challenge and combat to assert their dominance over vast territories. Among these lions that carry a long legacy of battles and victories, who fought for survival and the preservation of their kingdoms, rises King Makalu, the leader of the deadly Mapogo coalition, one of the largest and most ferocious coalitions in recent memory. Documentaries have praised this dominant lion for his courage and immense strength. He earned his special place among legendary lions in the famous Sabi Sands Reserve, an area bordering Kruger National Park, known for its fierce and diverse lion coalitions. Makalu, along with his brutal coalition, invaded many lands and mercilessly wiped out lion prides they encountered. Not even lionesses or cubs were spared from their wrath. Their bloody battles became a terrifying legend told across Africa and the world. Although coalitions with as many as 6 lions are rare, since leadership disputes often break them, Makalu and his brothers stood out as the largest coalition at the time. They ruled over many prides scattered across the vast reserve, completely reshaping the region's ecosystem by exterminating rival male lions and destroying habitats, from the smallest prey to massive hippos, towering giraffes, and even elephants. Makalu, the wise and courageous killer, mastered the art of ruling with brutal tactics alongside his brothers. Unlike other coalitions, Makalu's group killed and devoured nearly every lion they faced, leaving a bloody mark that echoed through lion history. His life, full of challenge and bloodshed, made him a living legend. His name became forever tied to endurance, survival, and unshakable dominance in the wild. Elsewhere, in northern Kenya, another lion rose to fame in the rich and biodiverse Maasai Mara Reserve. His name was Scarface, the world-renowned lion whose image and legacy spread through documentaries and photos. He was known for his immense strength, unmatched intelligence, and his absolute control over rival prides. He too formed a powerful coalition and fought legendary battles to dominate the vast lands of the reserve. This legendary king ruled for 12 years over nearly 400 square kilometers of forest and savanna in the Mara. His famous scar, earned in a 2013 raid with his lion brothers, nearly cost him his right eye and gave him his iconic name. Over the years, Scarface displayed unmatched courage and power. With his great wisdom, he gave equal authority to his brothers to prevent rebellion, proof of his cleverness and political genius. He earned the respect of all creatures during his reign, walking past deadly predators, including crocodiles, without fear. Even hyenas dreaded him. No one dared approach his territory. He became a symbol of strength and emotion in the hearts of wildlife lovers around the globe. But despite the difference in time and place, if we were to imagine a showdown between these two terrifying lions, Makalu and Scarface, it would be a fight of epic proportions. A bloody clash filled with tactical brilliance from two seasoned warriors. If such a meeting ever happened, it would likely take place on neutral ground, both lions seeking to dominate it. The sun would blaze overhead. Silence would fill the air. Everyone would await the eruption of a massive battle as hearts race and adrenaline surges. Here stands Makalu, the brave and experienced lion, battle-hardened alongside his father. He would wait, sniffing out the challenge coming from Scarface, the stubborn lion with the terrifying roar. Scarface, with his scarred face and intimidating look, might open the confrontation with a mighty roar to scare off Makalu. But Makalu, a master at provoking his opponents, would not be intimidated by the king's fearsome presence. A cold war would unfold, intense stares, light skirmishes, and probing attacks, until one of them finally launches the first blow. The ground would shake beneath them as one charges violently. Scarface, known for his agility, would likely dodge skillfully. Makalu, the aggressor, would continue leaping high, jaws wide with deadly fangs, trying to land a fatal blow. After a series of attacks and counters, Makalu might manage to injure the mighty king. In return, Scarface would unleash his own strength, landing a painful hit that forces Makalu to retreat briefly. But the fight would not end. The bloody duel would rage on until one lion fell. And despite mutual injuries, Makalu, the wild and dangerously powerful, might finally pin Scarface to the ground. After a long resistance, the legendary king would collapse. Makalu would emerge as the victor, but gravely wounded. His body marked with deep scars, proof of Scarface's unmatched bravery and grit in one of the most brutal lion battles ever imagined. A battle between two kings who ruled with iron claws and spread fear and death for years across their vast kingdoms. The lion territories of the Okavango Delta are home to many dangerous predators. Here in Kakanika, a vital part of the delta, two strong male lions dominate a pride that is expanding gradually, with many hungry mouths waiting to be fed. This pride specializes in hunting Africa's most dangerous prey, but the growing number in the pride and the ongoing drought have led to a clear famine, forcing the pride to search for food beyond their territory. This results in fierce clashes with nearby prides and coalitions, pushing them to adopt dangerous strategies that will test their survival skills. Our story begins at the start of summer, when two brother lions seized control of one of the most sought-after lands in southern Africa, rich in diverse resources, in the Kakanika region of Botswana. This area is a fertile zone of islands and floodplains. The pride living there had been unstable due to long-standing battles for dominance among rival males. As a result, the 6 lionesses hadn't given birth in over a year. But when the 2 powerful brothers took control of the Kakanika pride, things began to change. Under their new leadership, breeding resumed quickly, and soon the first 2 lionesses gave birth to 5 cubs. 3 months later, 3 more lionesses gave birth to strong cubs, bringing the total number of cubs to 8, and eventually to 13. Fearing the dominant males, each lioness stayed isolated with her cubs for the first 2 months. These cubs, born in the peak of summer, had good chances of survival, but such a high number of healthy cubs would eventually pose serious challenges. At just 3 months old, the cubs began eating meat. This meant the adult lions, both males and females, had to hunt more frequently to feed the cubs, requiring a meal every 3 or 4 days. The cubs were welcomed by the dominant males. The Kakanika brothers were patient and tolerant fathers, allowing the cubs to find their place in the coalition's social structure. They even helped them sharpen their skills in preparation for future hunts and protection duties. The lionesses were the pride's core. They were expert hunters with exceptional teamwork, targeting large African buffalo during summer. These buffalo moved in massive herds of at least 400 and were among the most dangerous prey. A single buffalo, weighing nearly a ton, could feed the pride for a week, but hunting them was extremely risky due to their deadly horns. Only teamwork could bring them down. The 6 seasoned Kakanika lionesses knew how to engage. They provided ideal prey for the 6-month-old cubs to practice hunting, preparing them for independence. The younger 3-month-old cubs were led to the kills by their mothers. At that age, they found the pile of meat both delicious and entertaining. In a unique trait of the Kakanika pride, both adults and cubs ate side by side, unlike most prides where males eat first and cubs last. Perhaps the abundance of food allowed the pride to ease up on rules and privileges, although discipline was still occasionally necessary. During the summer, as buffalo grazed in Kakanika, the pride enjoyed steady meals. But when winter arrived, the rains stopped, and the lions' fortunes began to shift. Huge elephants also roamed the region, arriving from the surrounding Kalahari Desert to spread across the forests and floodplains, especially near shrinking waterholes, as extreme heat dried up the vegetation. For the elephants, the key attraction in Kakanika was the permanent water. These giant animals needed between 100 and 200 liters of water daily, which they could drink in just 5 minutes by filling their trunks and pouring it into their throats. The cubs had no idea of the hardships ahead. To them, the lion territories of the Okavango Delta are home to many dangerous predators. Here in Kakanika, a vital part of the delta, 2 strong male lions dominate a pride that is expanding gradually, with many hungry mouths waiting to be fed. This pride specializes in hunting Africa's most dangerous prey, but the growing number in the pride and the ongoing drought have led to a clear famine, forcing the pride to search for food beyond their territory. This results in fierce clashes with Though giraffes lacked buffalo horns, they had lethal kicks capable of killing a lion instantly. So long as buffalo were in Kakanika, the lions focused on the more accessible prey. But the season had changed, and the buffalo had grazed every field bare, forcing them to migrate elsewhere. The lions trailed the buffalo, watching from a distance, waiting for the right moment to strike. Moving slowly, they used their classic technique, isolating the target and attacking without being seen. Sometimes this could take days just to assess the herd and find a weak spot before seizing the chance. When the terrified buffalo herd tried to defend their fallen member, chaos erupted. One large buffalo challenged the coalition, while its injured companion tried to escape. Another buffalo charged the standing victim, disappearing into the herd, declaring victory. The starving coalition had to regroup quickly for another hunt. There was no time to take the driest route, especially not for the exhausted cubs struggling to keep up. Each foodless day weakened them further. Some might not survive. Now it was midwinter. Times were about to get even harder. This was the peak of the dry season. The buffalo kept moving, seeking fresh grass. As their main food source vanished, the pride watched for any attack opportunity, regrouping despite hunger and harsh weather. One lioness gave birth to 2 more cubs, raising the total to 15. 15 hungry mouths in desperate need of care and nourishment. The Kakanika coalition had never been more desperate. Meanwhile, the elephants arrived as the Okavango's edges dried. Non-picky eaters, they fed on whatever buffalo left behind, digging for bulbs and roots. At the edge of Kakanika lay an invisible border, ruled by another pride. Lions couldn't cross it, but buffalo could. As desperation grew, the Kakanika pride was tempted to follow, risking a deadly trespass into enemy land. A Kakanika lioness observed the situation. She noticed the rival coalition's males were absent, giving them an advantage. The rival pride's cubs and lionesses couldn't withstand the might of the dominant Kakanika male. For the next 4 months, the borders remained contested. Elephants passed through, and the pride kept moving, hunting anything edible. They ignored the elephants, for now, as they were too big to bring down. The starving lions returned to the 6th lioness and her newborn cubs, just 2 months old, too young to join the pride's long food searches. Some were left behind, too weak to follow, and soon paid the price. Hunger was growing. The lions had to reconsider. The elephants were now their only chance at survival. The cubs were too weak to keep up, and over half had already died. The rest wandered from mother to mother for milk. Even the strongest cubs had only a few days left to live. Weak, hungry, and thirsty, they huddled together. But the lionesses, never giving up, scanned the horizon one more time, for something, anything, to eat. All they saw were massive elephants. The smaller ones, vulnerable to attack, were well protected. There was no more time. The lionesses began tracking the herd, hoping a calf would be injured or fall behind. For such calves, this was the worst time to be alone. Eventually, this final strategy paid off. One calf lagged, and the lionesses seized their chance, surrounding the 2-ton animal, trying to bring it down. They were experts at killing buffalo, but had never killed an elephant. Their teeth couldn't pierce the thick skin. The neck was too thick to choke. So, in extreme hunger, they began eating it alive, a horrifying scene. After nearly a month without meat, the fresh flesh revived the pride. The elephant calf, twice the size of a buffalo, became a perfect meal and a new food source. Over the following weeks, the lions refined techniques for elephant hunting. But when the elephants retaliated, the lions had no choice but to flee. With each attempt, they grew bolder, until elephant kills became routine. Their success didn't go unnoticed. The rival pride, also starving after the buffalo left, grew desperate and risked a confrontation. The Kakanika coalition would not tolerate intrusions on their territory or food. When the rival pride entered their land, chasing them off wasn't enough. One young male was cornered by the mighty Kakanika lion, Victor. The young lion dared not look him in the eye. Direct eye contact was a death challenge. He submitted, and Victor circled him in triumph. But then he bit his genitals to show dominance and cruelty. Meanwhile, The other Kakanika male forced the intruding female to mate, while the others fled. Under October's dry skies, wave after wave of elephants crossed the land. Despite the permanent water, dry vegetation meant poor nutrition. Weak calves wandered from the herds and became easy prey. The once desperate hunting now became gluttonous. In 1 month, they killed 5 elephants. Summer approached, the rains returned, and Kakanika burst back to life. The herds returned, especially elephants moving to their summer feeding grounds in the distant Kalahari. Like magic, the brutal season seemed forgotten in the wave of renewal. After an extreme season and a long battle for survival, only 7 of the 15 cubs survived. They thrived once the buffalo returned, bringing with them a ton of meat, thinner hides, and short snouts, perfect for choking. The deadly cat and mouse game resumed. Over the next 6 months, the year-old cubs learned to hunt by experience and from their skilled mothers. Surviving the harshest season gave them newfound confidence. With the herds back, they gained more survival lessons, soon becoming skilled hunters. They now approached buffalo with calm determination. As always, the lionesses led the charge, surrounding and attacking from behind, avoiding the deadly horns. They aimed for the spinal cord, leaping onto the buffalo's back to bring it down. The cubs mimicked their mother's takedown tactics. With steady meat supplies through summer, the young lions grew strong. In 6 months, they would be a self-sufficient killing force. With food at their doorstep, they spent most days resting and gaining weight. By the end of the rainy season, they marched confidently with the adults. The pride now had 14 hunters. They followed every move of their fathers, learning when to attack, wait, hide, or strike. Nearing maturity, they joined the 2 Kakanika males in direct buffalo attacks. The epic battle ended in a lion victory. In this ever-changing world, the Kakanika pride found stability again, thanks to the 2 strong males and the large group of young lions, a guarantee of the pride's future. Life in the Okavango will always be unpredictable. The future is never clear. Soon, the strong young males will be exiled by their fathers to forge their own paths, facing drought, hunger, and fierce rivals alone, ready to carve their legacy into the wild. He was a magnet for tourists from all over the world. His charming personality and striking appearance drew every camera seeking the perfect shot of a lion who, until his final days, was considered one of the most magnificent lions in Africa, specifically in Tanzania's Serengeti National Park. This was Bob Jr., whose death brought deep sorrow across the globe. Born in 2010 and named after his father, Bob Jr. had no idea he would capture the hearts of everyone who saw him, with his massive dark mane, distinct features, and remarkable gentleness. During his childhood, his father ruled alongside his brother Ziggy. Together, Bob Sr. and Ziggy controlled prides across central, southern, and eastern Serengeti during the peak of their youth and power. From an early age, Bob Jr. was known for his curious and bold nature. He often wandered away from his pride, venturing alone to explore nearby areas. But this adventurous spirit also led him into trouble. He once went missing for several days, causing great concern among park rangers. Despite such incidents, Bob Jr. grew into a strong and dominant lion, eventually becoming the leader of his pride. He was a fierce protector of his family and often hunted to bring food back to share with the pride. This stunning lion with amber eyes was affectionately called Bob Marley by tour guides in reference to the famous Jamaican reggae singer, thanks to his distinct shiny mane. Bob Jr. was especially recognized for his appearance, a prominent reddish-brown mane and a scar above his left eye, giving him a fierce and commanding look. That scar came from a fight with a rival male lion, a battle Bob Jr., of course, won. However, because Bob Sr. and Ziggy were controlling 5 prides at once, Bob Jr. and his brother Trygve were unable to claim a pride during their upbringing. So, in 2017, once the 2 brothers had grown stronger, they left their pride and migrated to western Serengeti. There, they roamed the plains and eventually took over the area entirely. They settled in the grassy savanna of Serengeti's western plains, an area that had been closed for nearly 25 years to protect cheetah breeding. These fortunate young lions discovered the region after it was reopened. Bob Jr. was easily recognized by his size and look. He resembled his father in many ways, though the father had more pronounced dreadlocks in his mane. Over the years, Bob Jr. became a beloved figure in Serengeti National Park. Tourists came from all over the world to see him. He often approached their vehicles gently, allowing for incredible close-up photos. This made him a favorite among visitors, who frequently shared his pictures on social media. One tourist said, "The first time I saw Bob Jr., we had a moment when he roared, and I felt it deep in my soul. He was so large that when he stood next to our vehicle, he could almost reach the window, and the sound of his roar was thunderous." One evening, our group was out on a game drive when we spotted Bob Jr. walking with his head held high. We felt he had seen something, so we followed him. And suddenly, we saw the whole pride feeding on an eland, Africa's largest antelope. He had led us straight to the scene. Yet life in the wild is never easy. Throughout his youth, Bob Jr. faced many challenges while living in the park. One of the biggest threats to his life came from poachers, who often target lions for their valuable body parts like bones and hides. Thankfully, park rangers worked tirelessly to protect Bob Jr. and his pride from harm. In addition to illegal poachers, Bob Jr. also had to deal with natural predators such as hyenas and crocodiles, creatures that could threaten him and his pride. But as a skilled hunter and fighter, he did everything he could to defend his family. As Bob Jr. aged, signs of decline began to show. His once powerful body weakened, and he could no longer hunt as effectively. Still, he remained a respected and beloved leader among his pride members, who continued to look up to him for guidance and protection. Tragic news of Bob Jr.'s violent death made headlines on March 11, 2023. He was killed in a brutal attack by younger rivals known as the Saba Bora Coalition. Some believe these lions were his own sons, driven out when they were young. Others think they crossed from Kenya to eliminate every lion that stood in their way. These young males had set their sights on Bob Jr., challenging him in a ferocious battle that ended his life as he defended his territory in the eastern Sametu-Kopias plains. The attack was shockingly violent. They didn't just want to chase him off. They aimed to kill him and shake the region with their raw power and aggression. Yet Bob Jr. died as a true lion should, fighting bravely until his final breath. It is also believed that Bob Jr.'s beloved brother, Trygve, was killed in separate but coordinated attacks, according to Fridi Shirama, head of conservation at Serengeti National Park. Since then, Bob Jr.'s legacy has lived on in the memories of all who knew him, through countless photos and videos captured during his life in the park. He became a symbol of the beauty and majesty of Serengeti. His death is a stark reminder of life's fragility, even for the strongest creatures in the wild. He was a lion who captured many hearts, a strong and brave leader who protected his family from both human and animal threats. His death was a deeply painful and immense loss.